Hi, my name is Lucy, and I have the worst luck in the entire universe. No, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic. What's happened to me is statistically impossible. I've been struck by lightning 4 times, fallen from a 5-story building and survived, and been hit by cars 3 times in a single day. I've had 30 major accidents, 8 bone fractures, and 17 incidents that doctors literally call survival miracles. The odds of all this happening to one person are 1 in 400 trillion. But it happened to me. And now, 18 million people follow me just to see what disaster is going to happen next. And I make $200,000 a month documenting my life of bad luck. It all started the day I was born. Literally. My mom was in labor at a hospital when a fire broke out. The entire building had to be evacuated and I was born in an ambulance on the way out. The paramedics told my mom, "Your daughter is lucky to be alive." Lucky. That word would follow me for the rest of my life, but with the complete opposite meaning. At just 6 months old, a semi-truck crashed into our car head-on. My parents got bruises. I got a skull fracture. At 2 years old, I fell out of a 2nd-story window. At 4, a tree fell on me during a picnic. My parents started to see a pattern. This wasn't just normal kid stuff. This was something ... more. Accidents followed me like a shadow. Then, at 7 years old, something happened that changed everything. I was at a park on a beautiful, clear, sunny day. Out of nowhere, a storm appeared in 5 minutes. Everyone ran for shelter, and then lightning struck me. I collapsed, cardiac arrest. A teacher performed CPR, and 3 minutes later, my heart restarted. At the hospital, the doctors were shocked, literally and figuratively. They said the voltage should have killed me instantly. My discharging doctor told my mom, "Your daughter is either the luckiest kid I've ever seen or I can't tell which." After that first lightning strike, things only got worse. At 9, a car hit me while I was on my bike, sending me flying 20 feet into a street sign. At 11, my house exploded from a gas leak. I was in the only room that didn't collapse. Firefighters called it a miracle. It felt like a curse. In high school, the bullying started. Kids called me disaster magnet. "Don't sit near Lucy," they'd say. I was completely isolated, the cursed girl. But now, I've turned this curse into a career. People are fascinated by my story, and I've decided to own it. If you want to see what happens next in the life of the world's unluckiest person, make sure to subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. And honestly, I understood. Things really did happen around me. In chemistry class, just by touching the lab table, I caused all the equipment to fall. Glass shattered everywhere, and 3 people got cut. Then at prom, the huge chandelier fell from the ceiling, right in the spot where I had been dancing just seconds before. I had moved at the last second. People started getting genuinely afraid of me. At 16, the second lightning strike hit me. I was just walking home from school. It was a light drizzle, nothing serious. Then boom, a direct strike. This time, I was unconscious for 2 whole days. When I woke up, the doctors were completely baffled. One of them said, "Lucy, you've been struck by lightning twice. The odds of that are 1 in 9 million. You should seriously buy a lottery ticket." I just laughed bitterly. "Doc, if I buy a ticket, the entire lottery will go bankrupt before they can even do the drawing." He didn't get it, but it was the truth. My luck was a curse. If something could go wrong, it would, and it would involve me. After that second strike, something strange started happening. I began to feel when something bad was about to happen. It wasn't a clear vision, more like a sensation. Chills, nausea, a heavy pressure in my chest. 3 seconds before that chandelier fell. 2 minutes before a car crash happened down the street. I'd feel it and cross to the other sidewalk. It wasn't perfect, but it happened often enough to be real. I told my parents, but they thought it was PTSD from the trauma and took me to a therapist. She told me my brain was just hypervigilant, seeing danger everywhere. But I knew it was real. At 18, I enrolled at UCLA, far from home, desperate for a fresh start. On my first day, I was crossing the street. The walk signal was on. A car ran the red light and hit me. I went flying and blacked out. I woke up in the hospital with broken ribs, a punctured lung, and head trauma. When I finally got back to my classes, I was already known as that girl who got hit by a car. At 19, the third lightning strike happened. I was at Santa Monica Beach with some classmates. It was cloudy, but there was no storm. Then, out of nowhere, a single bolt of lightning came down from the sky, and guess who it hit? This time, I stopped breathing for 4 minutes. A nurse who just happened to be there performed CPR and brought me back. Back to the hospital. Again. Doctors ran every test imaginable, genetic, neurological, everything. They found nothing. One doctor joked, "I must have done something terrible in a past life." I didn't find it funny. The story of the third strike hit the local news. I became a scientific curiosity. UCLA even published a paper on me, concluding it was just an extremely rare statistical phenomenon. Thanks. Real helpful. So, I started documenting my life on Instagram. At first, it was just for therapy, but then it became something much bigger. People were fascinated. The number one question I get is, how are you still alive? And that's a question I'm still trying to answer myself. Some people call me the unluckiest person on earth. Others say I'm the luckiest for just being alive. All I know is that my bizarre life gained me 50,000 followers in just 2 months. It all started when I was 21. This one incident changed everything. I was visiting a friend in their apartment building, up on the 5th floor. I stepped out onto the balcony to check out the view, and that's when it happened. The railing was completely rotted. It just gave way, and I fell. 5 stories. I should be dead, right? But I landed on a shop awning that broke my fall just enough. Then, I bounced onto a pile of cardboard boxes that a truck was unloading right below. I survived with only a broken arm and a concussion. The paramedics were in total shock. They kept saying, "This is impossible. Nobody survives a 5-story fall." The whole thing was caught on the building's security cameras. The video went viral. We're talking 23 million views on YouTube. I became international news overnight. The unluckiest woman alive, ... or the luckiest. That's when I decided to start I posted the fall video and just told my story. "Hi, I'm Lucy. I've been struck by lightning 3 times, fallen off a building, been hit by cars, survived an explosion, and had 13 other major accidents. Welcome to my life." The video got 3 million views in the first week. People were obsessed, so I started a series, A Day in the Life of the Unluckiest Person Alive. And you know what? Things just kept happening. I went to Target, and an entire shelf collapsed on top of me. I went to the dentist, and the chair broke while I was in it. I went for a haircut, and the stylist accidentally snipped my ear. 5 stitches, it was all filmed. All real. My followers exploded to 5 million, then 10, then 15 million. Brands started reaching out. Insurance companies, ironically, wanted me as a spokesperson. Helmet companies were like, "Please, test our products." First aid apps said I was the perfect ambassador. I was making $20,000 a video. Then, at 22, came the 4th lightning strike. I was filming a video in Griffith Park. It was just partly cloudy. Suddenly, I felt that familiar sensation, chills right down my spine. I told my cameraman, "Guys, I'm getting a really weird feeling, ... double quotes, and then boom. The 4th strike. I collapsed. My cameraman caught the whole thing on film. I was rushed to the hospital, again. But this chimney, when I woke up, something was different. I could ... sense things. Not thoughts, but energy. I knew when something was about to go wrong, not just seconds before, but minutes. I'd walk into a building and know something was about to fall. I'd look at a car and just know the brakes were bad. It was like a 6th sense, but hyper-developed. I told the doctors, and they ran a bunch of tests. My MRI showed unusual activity in the sensory perception areas of my brain. One neurologist theorized that the lightning strikes might have rewired my neural pathways. Another thought it was extreme trauma, creating a kind of supernatural hype. Nobody knew for sure, but I knew it was real. So I started using it. I began warning people. I'd see someone about to cross the street and just know a car was going to run the red light. Wait, don't cross yet, I'd yell. 3 seconds later, a car would speed through the intersection. The person would just stare at me, completely shocked. You saved my life. This started happening over and over. I posted the videos. At first, people thought it was just luck or some crazy coincidence, but it was happening too often to be a coincidence. This is my life now. It's strange. It's chaotic. But maybe, just maybe, all that bad luck was leading to something good. They call me the girl who prevents accidents. 18 million followers, 250,000 a month in sponsorships. It's wild. But it all started with a bang. 4 of them, actually, lightning strikes 4 times? Yeah, you heard that right. After the last one, something changed. I started sensing things. Little feelings, a weird itch, a sudden urge to duck or step aside. And every single time, I'd narrowly avoid a disaster. A falling sign, a car swerving onto the sidewalk, you name it. It got so predictable that scientists at Stanford took notice. They put me in controlled environments, setting up accidents without telling me when or what. Guess what? I predicted them with 87% accuracy. They even published a paper on me, Enhanced Sensory Perception Post-Lightning Trauma. I became a living, breathing scientific phenomena. People always ask me, aren't you scared? Honestly, terrified. Every morning, I wake up wondering if today's the day my luck finally runs out. If the next accident will be the one I don't walk away from. It's a heavy weight to carry, but then I remember the upside. This strange, dangerous gift. It allows me to save people. I've lost count of how many lives I've touched, how many disasters I've helped avert. A warning here, a quick pull there. That's worth more than any broken bone, any scar. And trust me, I have plenty of both. Now, at 24, my life is completely surreal. I travel the world giving TEDx talks about resilience and trusting your intuition. I consult with major safety companies, helping them overhaul their protocols based on my real-world, high-stakes experience. I even helped develop an app that uses AI to predict risk. Its algorithm, inspired by the very patterns my brain uses to keep me alive. The accidents haven't stopped, of course. Just last week, I slipped in the shower. Another 5 stitches. But you know what? I survived. I always do. My motto has become she never quits, because it feels like the universe never quits trying to test me. I might have the worst luck in the world, but it's given me the best survival story, and now I use that story to help you write your own. My name is Lucy. I've survived the impossible, and I'm just getting started. Thanks for watching. If my story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button because my next adventure is always just around the corner. Stay safe out there, and remember, if you ever get that weird feeling that something's about to go wrong, trust it!